What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my top 10 most surprising teams of this past college football season. When we're talking surprising teams, we're talking teams that maybe I didn't have that high of expectations for going into the season. They maybe overperformed, ended up being pretty good, or teams I thought would be good, not great, ended up being great. Now, these are in no particular order. These are just 10 random teams that really surprised me this year, that really overperformed my expectations. Join me down in the comment section while we move along. Let me know your surprising teams of the season. Now, this is kind of one of the last videos I'll be doing talking about last season. After this, we're mainly going to be looking forward to next season, doing some early previews and stuff like that. So first off, we got SMU. Now, record-wise, last season and this season ended up being the same, both 11-3, but really overperformed. I did not expect them to make the playoff in their first year in the ACC in a power conference. Usually when you see teams make that jump from, the group of five to the power four, previously the power five, they don't perform this quickly. They don't make the college football playoff. They don't make the ACC championship that quickly. But SMU, they made the switch from Preston Stone to Jennings and just took off. Really good year. They've got a lot coming back. We'll see if they can rebound and make it again next year. Next up, Indiana. Last season 3-9, this season 11-2. Huge turnaround here. Now, I thought Indiana would be improved. I thought they would be kind of middle ground in the Big Ten, but definitely didn't expect them to be this good as they were with Curt Cignetti coming in from James Madison. Their only two losses this year to the two teams in the national championship, Ohio State and Notre Dame, and they got crapped on a lot early, at the beginning of the college football playoff for kind of how they looked against Notre Dame. Like, man, this team really didn't deserve to be in, but you only lost to teams that made the national championship. You're doing something right. Now, they lose a lot. We'll see how much Curt Cignetti can handle that turnover. It came out after the fact that he took this job because he looked at the schedule they had this year and was like, yeah, you know what? I think we can go on a run. And they did. He took it full advantage of that. O'Rourke, really good at quarterback. And I was impressed with Indiana. Had a heck of a year, Curt Cignetti. He's got things rolling in Indiana. Next up, BYU. Last season, 5-7. This season, 11-2. And probably one loss away. If they don't lose that game to Kansas, they're in the college football playoff. They had the win over SMU, and if they don't kind of squander their opportunity there at the end of the season, they're in good shape to make the playoff. They've got a lot coming back, should be a top 25 team next year. And like I said, last season, 5-7. At the beginning of the year, I think I had them in the bottom three of the Big 12. Didn't expect them to be near as good as they were, but heck of a season for BYU. Again, if they didn't kind of squander their opportunity, they're in the college football playoff. Next up, Oregon. Now, this one, let me explain this one. I like them. I thought they would be good. I like them going into the year. Oregon's always pretty competitive, but my kind of one hiccup with them was moving into the power conference in the Big Ten. It's going to be a lot tougher than, running through the Pac-12. So my thoughts originally were they weren't going to be able to handle the week in and week out grind. I thought they would drop a few games, and they didn't. They shocked me. They ran the table. They were number one from start to finish this season pretty much. Once they took that number one spot, they kind of just stayed up there and ran with it. And they beat Ohio State. I didn't think that would happen. They beat Penn State. Didn't think that would happen. They were good. Oregon shocked me. Dan Lanning. Now, their one thing is once they get to the playoff, he's got to somehow win a game. They haven't been able to do that. But what they did in their first year in the Big Ten, I was impressed with them winning the Big Ten championship. Definitely did not expect that to happen. This is a team that I thought would be good, but not great. And again, winning the Big Ten in your first year, pretty impressive stuff from Oregon. Next up, Vanderbilt. Last season, 2-10. This season, 7-6. So not necessarily, a powerhouse by any means, but for Vanderbilt standards, really good year. You upset Alabama. Things are definitely trending up. I even have them on my way to early top 25. Go check that out. I'll put a video link at the end of this one. But Pavia coming over really helped them out. And things are trending up. They were competitive in games that normally they wouldn't be competitive in. Like I said, they beat Alabama. And for the last however many years, you never would have thought that was going to be a possibility. But definitely trending up, improved 5 wins, pretty good stuff from Vanderbilt. Next up, Arizona State. Last season, 3-9. This season, 11-3. Ended up giving Texas all they wanted in that college football playoff quarterfinal. Cam Skattebo really carried this team. Now we'll see how they go forward without him, but this year, awesome stuff. Kenny Dillingham gets them to the Big 12 championship. They win the Big 12, and really good first year in the Big 12 here for Arizona State. Things are definitely trending up for them as well as for the majority of the teams on this list. But Really awesome year. And like I said, they gave Texas everything they wanted in that matchup. Couple different plays, couple different ways the balls bounce. Arizona State might have been in the semifinals. Next up, South Carolina. Last season 5-7. This season 9-4. Now, sky is the limit for South Carolina going forward. They were pretty much one loss away, because they weren't 9-4. They were 9-3 going into bowl season. They're pretty much one loss away from sneaking into the playoff, and they have college football playoff written all over them these next couple of years. LaNorris Sellers is a monster, future first round pick, future probably top 5, top 1 pick, arguably. And South Carolina, the way they play this year, if they can build on that, they're going to be a college football playoff team next year. I've got them in my top 10. All right, next up, Notre Dame. So this is similar to Oregon. Thought they'd be good. Notre Dame's always pretty good, but the thing with them usually is they get to the playoff, they get against the big boys, the other powerhouses, and they can't do anything. Well, this year, they shocked me here. Marcus Freeman, heck of a job. He outcoached Kirby Smart, I thought he outcoached Kirby Smart in that Georgia game. And he's definitely trending up for me. I wasn't sure how good of a coach he was. Now, they dropped that one game to Northern Illinois this year, but if they don't drop that game, they're only lost in the national championship. And with what they did against those teams to get to the national championship, beating Georgia, beating Penn State, both really impressive wins, I thought. Impressive stuff here for Notre Dame. I did not think they'd make the national championship. Definitely didn't think they'd make it after losing to Northern Illinois. But heck of a job here for Marcus Freeman. Next up, Colorado. Now, in retrospect, should they have been better than 9-4 when you have 2 top 5 picks on your team? Probably. But a big improvement from 4-8 to 9-4 to get, one game out of the Big 12 championship. They were in that 4-way tie for first with all those other teams, BYU, Arizona State, Iowa State. And, to be that close to making the Big 12. Now, it didn't go their way once they got to the bowl game. They got rolled on. But really good job here for Colorado. They surprised me this season. All right, and this is the last team here, Illinois. 5-win improvement here. Again, they're similar to South Carolina. They're 1 loss away from making the college football playoff this year. If they don't have that hiccup against Minnesota, they've only lost to playoff teams, and they're in the playoff. Next year, I think they're a sneaky playoff team. Brett Bielema always gets this team to kind of play above their level, and now they're actually a double-digit win team. They've got eyes on them. They can improve that program. I think they can make the college football playoff this year, but they really surprised me. But those are my top 10 most surprising teams of this past college football season. Who would you take off this list? Who would you add to this list? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe.